There, let's try that again.
Hi.
One of these days, I will
Turn
learn.
on the sound.
I will learn the gear.
Dana. Oh my God.
Hello, everybody, and welcome
Oh,
to the Thursday night Thunderdome,
as Josh would call
say.
it. Yes.
I'm Dana. This is Amy. This is a beer chat without beer.
It's a beer chat with a nojito.
We are having nojitos tonight. It's yet another. We were calling it the Wednesday night water chat. We're now on Thursdays, so Thursday night Thunderdome may be the best name to come up with, or that we've heard thus far.
Yes.
Although that's probably some sort of a trademark or something, so we don't got to watch that. Katie is in the house. Rhonda Lee's in the house.
Well, welcome everybody. It makes me think of Tina Turner when you
It does
say the Thunderdome.
Well, of course it does. So, and Cheryl,
we love you. Are you hanging in there? And we are sending you virtual hugs.
Indeed.
And virtual cuddles to your pup as well.
Absolutely. So let me see here. I'm going to turn some lights on here. You talk amongst yourselves while I'm.
Okay. I don't know what he's doing. He's got things happening.
I know. My phone's making noise all of a sudden.
Things are happening. And we do miss our mascot. We miss Popcorn, Cheryl. So adorable and so sweet. And just, so we're thinking of you. We're thinking of Darlene. We are hoping and sending positive vibes and hugs and love to everybody who's going through all that stuff. And Sebastian is here. Maria is drinking a V2O vinegar cranberry water, which sounds interesting to me also. And I want to say that like Katie said, hi James. So James is in the chat somewhere, I guess.
Did I miss James?
Did we miss James? I don't know.
I don't see James yet.
Okay.
James, if you're in the chat, say hi.
All right. I don't know. At any rate, we are supporting those virtually that need us because we know what that is like, and
losing a pet
and going through having a family member that is ill.
Yes. And
just in the midst of all of that, and having a pet who is having surgery, and we feel for you, and we're sending everybody virtual hugs and sending love. And we also want to wish Sarah and Rhonda Lee a very happy birthday tonight.
Yes.
Today and tonight. And you're just wonderful members of the Runcation Nation. And we posted the pictures you sent us today on social media. And so many people reached out to help celebrate in the comment section and Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. And we can't thank you enough because we always want everybody to feel loved and special and celebrated and appreciated by us. And so that's why we do that for our patrons. We want you all to know how much we appreciate your support and love you, and want to give you that little perk and celebrate so that everybody can celebrate in the community.
Absolutely.
And that's also why we do shout outs on the show of races. And speaking of races,
Yes.
Rhonda Lee is going to be running her Boston virtual Sunday, and JoJo is doing an impromptu half marathon in Tennessee, and Maria is got some kind of half, but we don't know what the theme is or location because Jennifer Fink does the same thing to her as I do to you.
Yeah. You sign up, I show up. I
Mhm.
totally get that.
Yeah.
Totally get that.
So I hope you ladies and gentlemen have wonderful races this weekend,
Down the lights.
and you just share pictures with us or videos or all of the above so we can celebrate you. I hope that we see fabulous drinks
Oh yeah.
also. I really like, I mean, how would you, if you were going to do a Boston themed beverage, what would you do?
I think I would probably go with something either just, going with a big Boston brewery like a Sam Adams.
Mhm.
Since it's October, you could do the Oktoberfest from Sam Adams. I think that's an amazing, mass produced but delicious beer nonetheless.
It
They do a
is.
great
That is
Oktoberfest.
very true.
I'm also particular this time of year for the Sam Adams cherry wheat. I think that would be a very
Oh,
drinkable,
feels like
sessionable
fall.
beer. Feels like fall and,
Yeah.
and very sessionable after a run.
Yeah.
I think that would be good for, the tummy
Mhm.
and not be too heavy.
Mhm.
Or, I mean, if you wanted to go with something, I don't know, you could go, if you wanted to go historic, you could go with, something from Yangling, which is, of course, America's oldest brewery.
You could.
Or if you wanted to go with something that's inherently American, that's quintessentially American, with the ties back to Boston and the
Mhm.
founding of the United States, you
Mhm.
could,
Mhm.
um,
You could do tea? No. Just kidding. I'm
well,
just
you
kidding. I'm
could
just
do
kidding.
tea.
Do a
Um,
grown-up tea.
But no, I was going to say it's something that's quintessentially the official American spirit, of course, would be anything with
Oh,
bourbon.
yes. And I feel like that would be appropriate for JoJo and her half also. And Dawn has just entered the chat. So,
And I'm going to do my best to bring all of the people chatting together from different platforms. So
mhm.
I understand. I saw somebody said that one of their
Like YouTube
platforms
crashed,
crashed.
so they switched over to
Cheryl,
Facebook.
yeah,
Yeah.
her YouTube crashed back on
Yeah.
Facebook.
Yeah.
That's
So,
okay. It's probably me when I figured out how to turn the lights on. I probably crashed YouTube. I mean, y'all saw
no.
what I did Monday night with Facebook and Instagram, when I started my first day as head of IT for Facebook. So
We couldn't get like all of the shout outs for the show because we couldn't get, and I couldn't communicate with
they
anybody.
broke the internet.
We couldn't post anything and do anything, and now we're okay. Now everything appears to be back to normal.
Normal-ish. Now, okay, Rhonda Googled a cocktail for Boston. Blue curacao,
Ooh,
coconut rum, pineapple juice, orange juice with a sprig of rosemary.
nice. I wonder how that is.
That sounds really good. I don't know that evokes thoughts
Boston.
of Boston to me. I mean,
Oh.
you could go savory, I suppose, and
What do you mean?
do something like a Caesar with clamato juice.
Why is that Boston
Well,
related?
Boston is known for, being a coastal city and having a big fishing industry and, you know,
Yeah, Rhonda Lee is gonna make that, and Dawn is having some kind of apple cider thing.
Okay, and I have an update from the last hour of the chat. I mentioned that my boss threw together an old fashioned with a seasonal old fashioned at
Oh,
home, and he used Jefferson Reserve bourbon on the rocks with ice. Cover that with spiced apple cider. Stir and enjoy.
is that an old fashioned though?
It's a seasonal old fashioned. Why not?
Okay,
It's old fashioned dish. It's brown. It's on the rocks. It's got.
I
bourbon.
would drink it. Mark.
Mark, hey man.
Hey, cheers.
Cheers to you, my
Cheers
friend.
to you.
Mark is the gentleman who absolutely was the MVP, giving us the best recommendation for our time up in Anchorage, Alaska, with Seifert and Sons, or Simon and Seifert's, excuse me. Not Seifert and Sons, Sanford and Sons. That's Sanford. Totally different show.
I'm so sorry.
Different city. Yeah, Simon and Seifert's. Absolutely incredible steak and lobster.
Oh, king crab.
Or king crab, excuse me.
King crab is, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It was so good. So good. And Rhonda Lee says she's going to post pictures. And it's called Seeing Unicorns. Do you know why? Do you know why?
I do not.
Because the unicorn is like the emblem. Yeah. And they do a documentary where one of the board members for the Boston Athletic Association says, if you could tell me why a unicorn is on our logo or part of our mascot or whatever, I'll give you, she named some random X amount of dollars.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But it's cool though. I like that.
And Josh has her labeled the Nova Scotia Nightmare. That's awesome. Katie's having awesome. Water and hydrating up.
Well, she was working.
Oh yeah.
So, I used to watch Northern Exposure.
I never got into that show.
I watched it periodically, not on the regular.
What was the show that had the Canadian mounted police officer who was
Wasn't that Northern Exposure?
No.
Was
that Northern Exposure? No. To the Cloud. You have the internet there. I thought Northern Exposure was like was that the doctor? I thought that was the doctor.
Stand by.
She's going to check it out. I can't remember.
I'm sure that Sebastian's going to put in the chat. Northern Exposure is an American northern comedy drama television series about eccentric residents of a fictional small town in Alaska. That ran between 1990 and 1995.
Dawn, you have a good night. Thank you. You better answer if Mama's calling.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's true. That's true. You got to. Hug your puppy for us.
Yeah.
With a total of 110 episodes. Let's see. In the show, Rob Morrow played New York City native Joel Fleischman. He's a physician, so you were right.
Yeah, that one I didn't get into as much. There was the other show that had the Royal Canadian Mounted Police officer with his pet dog, and they were down here in the States solving crimes, and Due South. That's it. That one I very much enjoyed.
Got it.
And they were on roughly at the same time.
Oh my Lord, have mercy.
Thank you, JoJo.
What did she say?
She's like, Due South.
Due South. Yeah. Thank God.
But you know why? She's having black raspberry sparkling ice. She's not impaired, and we're not either. But
we're not impaired.
We're not
really.
Sadly, this is a Nojito. We might have mentioned it. Nojito, of course, is something we did feature on the show because a restaurant was actually serving these up, and we've stolen this recipe because it's super simple. It's simple syrup, lime juice, crushed ice, muddled mint, and love. That's it. 5 ingredients.
Love.
That's it.
It's love. So this is love. No.
At least I'm not talking to Sanford and Son. Calling the restaurant that's me. You didn't miss out on a whole lot, and it's one of those. I think that like Due South was probably a product of its time, and it was very cute. Not exactly what you'd call a hard-hitting cop drama or anything. Honestly, everybody talks
a hard-hitting cop drama
with the unarmed Mountie in America. But no, I think arguably you could say we're in a bit of a golden age of TV now, because so much, if you're not looking for mass produced sitcoms, you're not in the golden age of sitcoms. I think you're in a really dry spell for sitcoms. But if you're
Yeah.
looking for dramas of high production value, I think you're in a pretty good time right now with
Why?
all the streaming services. You know,
Like which ones?
recently I love The Expanse. I think that's probably some of the
Well, that's
best,
intense. That is
some of the
intense.
best sci-fi on television. And it's way and this is coming from somebody who grew up on Star Wars and Star Trek. I
I
think that
know.
it's infinitely better than what we're seeing out of the new Trek. Um, there are rumors that they're bringing back or rebooting Babylon 5. I'm very curious
That's
about
kind of
that.
scary though.
That could go one of two ways. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like
And
Battlestar Galactica.
Battlestar Galactica, I mean, that one is a rerun that you can watch on streaming services now, and it holds up
I love that one. Edward James Olmos.
for the win, you know. And Josh, Looney Tunes and anime now. I think there's a lot of really good anime out there. I'm currently, and I was watching it on the plane. I was watching catching up on Voltron Defender, or what do they call it? Voltron Universal Defender. That's a reboot of an American anime, or an anime that was shown in America in the 80s. And Dune, yes, Cheryl, good call. We
Oh.
actually sat through the trailer for Dune.
Did.
That looks like it might be the closest thing to an actual
Wow.
translation of Dune to the
Yeah.
screen. And admittedly, the original David Lynch Dune, I saw it when I was a kid. I will watch it anytime it comes on cable, and that movie is so weird and out there, and it completely, there are parts of it that get parts of the book, and then there are parts that really don't. The but I watch it every time thinking it's going to get better, and I'm going to get something out of it. Kind of the same way I watch Prometheus every time it's on.
Well,
And
that's like what a guilty pleasure, or like you
it's
get sucked in
it's not even a guilty pleasure.
just get sucked in.
I am ticked off every time I finish it,
every time.
because it makes me angry, and the that movie does not get better.
Well,
But Dune is at least now Dune is good, but it's very weird. You just got to be okay with that. Yeah, Sebastian, honestly, that is going to be probably some of the best, I think 18 hours total of TV, however many episodes there are. It's one of those where it's not light viewing, so you have to kind of sit down and be ready to get invested and watch and pay attention, because there's a lot of politics going on in the show. But it's totally doable. And Josh, I get it. If you start looking at your streaming services, your streaming bills plus your data connection is as much or more than a cable connection if you're not careful.
a lot.
They've kind of turned, I guess the double-edged sword to this is it's almost become an a la carte thing, where you buy into a streaming service for a little bit, watch what you want to watch that's there, and then hop to the next one to watch what you want to watch. Okay, Sebastian just brought this up, and Katie loves anime too. See, I knew I liked you, Katie.
Squid Game.
This Squid Game thing. Somebody's going to have to explain this to me. I am seeing references to this all over the internet, and I don't get it. I haven't seen it yet. I don't know what's the deal, but yeah, I don't get it. I'm not there. This is one of those times where my finger is not on the pulse of pop culture. And I'm starting to think maybe that's for the best.
You think?
I don't know.
What makes you think that? It's a television show.
I know it's a television show. Yeah, Sebastian, that's a lot of reading there.
What, Dune?
Yeah, Frank Herbert's, and I've read all three.
I think I've heard about this. It's kind of like you have to accomplish something or you die.
Oh,
Like,
I don't know anything about the
is
Squid
that
Game thing yet.
I need hang on. Hundreds of cash-strapped players accept a strange invitation to compete in children's games. Inside, a tempting prize awaits with deadly high stakes. A survival game that has a whopping $45 billion prize at stake.
Wow.
So it's
Okay.
yeah,
And actually, Sebastian's
like Hunger
if
Games,
so,
like
that's
Hunger
exactly what
Games.
Sebastian's saying.
Yeah.
It's a typical death anime, kind of like Hunger Games. Got it. Yeah. Yeah, Katie, it's Josh, audiobooks, I spoken word content for me. I'm into podcasts. I'll sometimes flip back over to audiobooks. I also have a subscription to Blinkist for like nonfiction type stuff that kind of gives me the Cliffs Notes via audio. But I'm right there with you. I do that.
Mm.
And Dune, Katie, it's a dense read, but it's kind of worth the journey if you're willing to go on it. But it's a commitment. I mean that those books are no joke. And yeah, that the movie does look amazing. This actually looks like they decided they were going to throw the appropriate budget at it and go for it.
I guess we'll see,
Yeah.
right?
Started the pilgrimage after listening to The Alchemist. And Cheryl's reading Dune on Audible.
Oh,
That's just as long as watching the movies.
I don't know. It depends. Right?
They did a Dune TV show on Sci-Fi Channel a few years ago, or a made-for-TV movie. One of the two. I didn't see it, but I've not heard great things, so I don't know.
Well, we'll have to. I guess time will tell. You know.
Henry Rollins touring next year. Nice. Yeah, Henry. I like Henry Rollins. He sometimes drives me nuts, but I love his music, and yeah, spoken word stuff's been really good. But he drives me nuts in interviews sometimes.
Yeah, why?
Because he's kind of like, Penn and Teller. You just never know which way he's going to come at a thing, and sometimes you're like, really, dude?
Okay.
Okay, let me see here.
We never told your pierogi story.
Oh, okay. So the pierogi story. Yeah, I mentioned this on the last hour.
Yeah.
So the other night, I am like, you know what? I'm starving. Josh is killing me with his workout he's assigned me. Running, everything hurts. I'm constantly tired, and I'm
constantly tired because I'm on the 55 difficult.
She is. She's doing most of the 75 hard along with me just to give me some motivation and moral support. Yeah. So, I'm doing at least one protein shake a day. Oh,
I'm so sorry.
Are we good?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. One protein shake a day, but I was in need of some carbs. So I'm like, you know what? We are going to go get some pierogies from the store.
Finally, the pierogi story.
So I find some vegan pierogies at the store, which not really most of them probably are, but these particularly were vegan. So I get these vegan pierogies.
Dumplings are made with egg, and they're not.
Some are. These were not.
Okay.
So
game on.
I get these pierogies home, and I'm like, great. I'm gonna boil them, and then I figured I would just sear them at after the fact, kind of crisp them up a little bit on the outside. I throw them in the water, and since they were coming back from the store frozen anyway, and we had to go do a run. I said, well, let's knock the run out. Then we'll get back in here. And then I only got to boil these things for about 6 minutes, 2 minutes on each side. We're talking, 10, 15 minutes till we're eating. No problem.
Perfect.
So
right?
We have an induction stove. And for those of you that might be considering buying an induction stove, they're great. And they're a giant pain in the butt all at the same time. And now Amy has a co-host along with me. So I throw them in the water. We go out for the run. We come back. They've kind of started to defrost a little bit in the water. Great. I hit the boil quickly button on the stove. Just crank it up. And boy, does it. I mean, it starts, gets going, gets boiling. I didn't think that the pierogies would settle to the bottom of our enamelware and start to scorch while the water's boiling. Who would have
But
thought that you could scorch something while simultaneously boiling it in water? You absolutely can. And this guy did it. So I end up with the majority of the pierogies at some point or another scorching onto the bottom of the enamelware cast iron. I'm having to scrape these things out. I'm trying to salvage them because I'm starving. I'm about ready
he's
to just
very hungry.
I'm very hangry at this point.
Yes.
She's listening to some choice words coming from the kitchen,
Mm-hmm.
and I am just fit to be tied. So I ended up,
And he's been talking about these pierogies for days. Like he's wanting pierogies for
just
days.
had a hankering. So long story short, I end up simultaneously boiling and scorching pierogies, and I ended up salvaging the majority of each pierogi, sans the part that scorched and stuck to the bottom, and we ended up with these very sad pierogi pieces.
But they were good. They were still good.
So,
they were still good.
So note to self, keep stirring them while they're boiling so that they don't stick to the bottom, and mind them as opposed to set it and forget it and walk away. So that was on me. Craft services failed, but we will reattempt that at a later date.
Gonna emerge victorious.
I will emerge victorious against the pierogies. But it was nice to know. And these were just potato and onion.
Yes.
So fortunately, it was like potato and more potato
and onion. So there was like a tang of onion.
Mm-hmm. No, they were good.
That whole tang of sautéed onion, like that, and then joyous potato and dumpling.
But if you ever think to yourself, "There's no way I can burn this. I'm boiling it,"
you're wrong.
I promise you, you're wrong.
You're wrong.
It can be done. Try hard and believe in yourself, kids.
You're wrong. We would totally be up for seeing wonderful pierogies made by people who are experts.
Well, we have a couple of great restaurants around here for pierogies, but
JoJo is saying that she'll make them.
Oh, well, if you're going to make them.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. And I think the idea that pierogies becoming a trail race food staple. Okay. Josh, he and his lady had a date, and he made a candlelight dinner, and he made salmon. Now, how did you make the salmon, Josh? Tell us.
Yes.
Because
when
Amy's not always into salmon, but when she is, I usually have to do it has to be like grilled and some dill in there.
Well, and I think you have to have crispy skin.
Yes. Okay, sauerkraut, onions, butter, and cottage cheese. Is that a topping or a filling, JoJo? I'm curious.
She's gonna tell us, isn't she?
Her Polish grandmother's recipe. Well, yeah, I'm sure that's amazing.
Filling, it's the filling.
Yeah, that would be good. See, and here's the thing. I love cottage cheese. I love cottage cheese. A lot of people are like, that's gross. It's, whatever. It's diet food. I love cottage cheese. I grew up eating it. Breakstone's large curd cottage cheese for the win.
We had it a lot for a period of where maybe 5 years ago, there was a time where we got it all the time.
Yeah, because we would get the Breakstone's cups that had the fruit mixes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it sounds good to me. I trust JoJo. I trust JoJo's grandmother.
Oh, heck yeah.
So.
And Josh is coming through oven baked with dill.
See, dill
and salmon's that's hand in hand. You really, it's hard to beat that combo. high number of trail runners who are vegan, and that's the perfect long run food for all diets. Yeah,
A high number are vegan.
it's really also the only way to effectively eat like mashed potatoes on a long while running, at the same time.
Yes.
Now you've done boiled baby red potatoes
Yes.
and carried those in your running
Or like
pouch.
fingerling
Or fingerling potatoes.
also. Yeah. Both.
And JoJo's agreeing. Breakstones.
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
Cottage cheese and spicy honey. We actually have 2 spicy honeys in the house right now. One of them actually it will kick your butt. That one could have been in our tasting of hot sauces. And the other one is a
No.
barrel aged spicy honey.
Yeah.
That's insanely good. But
Now I want
not nearly as
pierogies.
spicy as you would think.
I want pierogies. I want honey.
See, I go different with my cottage cheese though. I actually I'm not a huge fan of going with, I mean, fruit's fine. I know the classic is of course, pineapple and
Yeah.
cottage cheese and all that.
Yeah.
I like going savory with mine.
Like what?
Mixing in I like mixing in some whole grain mustard
Interesting.
into the
I've
cottage
never
cheese.
seen you do this.
When I was a kid in high school, when I was, trying to get specific, amounts of protein and all that, I would eat cottage cheese on saltine crackers. And then I would just do a little dollop of sweet relish on top
Huh.
to give it a different flavor. Cause I was just, I basically, my mom would have handed me a big container of cottage cheese and a spoon. As a growing teen, I would have just destroyed the whole thing in one sitting.
Just pepper.
Salmon good with fennel.
Yeah.
You do a trout with fennel that's really good. You haven't done it forever, but that is really good.
Yeah.
And we
Do love
we
that.
had a salmon pasta not too long ago that was really good too.
Where did we have that?
I don't remember, but it was good. And now JoJo wants pierogies, right?
Excellent. Yes.
And yes,
Mhm.
there you go, Josh. Absolutely. And you know what? Also expanding your culinary horizons. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, you're making oven roasted salmon. I'm talking about cottage cheese and relish. I think
Oh
you
my
win. I think
God.
you win tonight.
Yes. I would like a ribeye.
Fresh cracked pepper. Also, yeah.
I mean, we're talking
A
about
little bit of-
pierogies.
A little bit
and
of hot
stuff,
sauce too,
But I would
or buffalo sauce.
I would like
That'd be good.
steak.
Yeah. Now, JoJo, I love peaches. So yeah, peaches and cottage cheese, perfect.
Peaches for you.
Peaches for
Peachy
me.
For me.
Absolutely.
It's so true. I'm always hungry and always thirsty after these chats.
Well, that's
Sure.
that is the idea typically. Oh, JoJo, if you make some, take pictures, please. I'd love to see them.
I want to see them.
And do you go purely I mean, of course, for the run, you probably don't do anything, crazy heavy, on the exterior, but
Right,
when
right.
you're, or maybe you do, who knows? But do you do any kind of pan searing or sauteing them to brown them on the exterior? I'm just curious.
It's probably not like dumplings. Probably not, right?
Well, I mean, you could.
I mean, I guess you could.
It's
But
kind of like yesterday when I made polenta yesterday,
Yeah.
and I did a very quick
Yeah.
tomato sauce, sliced the polenta, seared that on both sides, and then did this spicy kind of a spicy marinara almost
yeah, it was.
on top
It
of
was
that.
very good.
And that was pretty killer. But again, you can't carry polenta with you very easily.
No. So
Pierogies and kielbasa. Yeah.
Oh.
There's a restaurant over in Fort Myers that
God.
does that as a plate.
I think we've had the Currywurst food truck on the show before.
We have. They were in the parking lot at my work today.
Yes, they were in the parking lot at my work today.
They moved
No,
across the street.
I could see them
Oh,
in
yeah.
a parking lot
Yes.
at work that was near me. And oh my God. I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it.
They don't
I
have a
can't
single
do
thing
it.
vegan
I
on that
can't
truck.
do it.
and
No,
but
no.
their food is so good.
It's so good. Oh my God. Just a bratwurst. Oh,
Maybe in a piping bag, right? You'd be running down and just squeezing it into your mouth like that. That would be
yeah.
that would not be a pretty sight. That would remind me of that old Saturday Night Live skit that they did where they were basically, trying to sell, like they were doing spoof commercials, and it was cookie dough as a like a replacement for Gatorade. So
Oh
it was those goofy
gosh.
Gatorade commercials, but they replaced every shot with like a water bottle or a little paper cup full of cookie dough. So you got guys like Phil Hartman and
Oh.
and the cast from back in that
Mm-hmm.
early 90s
Yeah.
era, like dumping their drink on their head to cool off, and it's just cookie dough. It's gross.
It sounds like if you're doing that with cookie dough, no. If you're eating cookie dough, that's good.
Well, yes. And yes, I absolutely have had grilled peaches. I will eat peaches like apples. I don't even peel them. I just when they're in season,
You
I
just
buy them all
go.
the
You love
time.
it.
Yeah,
You love them.
I
And
do.
I think, anything with more butter is wonderful, Jojo. I'm just saying that I think that.
With more butter.
Mm. Oh,
Yeah.
grilled peaches, like with maybe like that spicy honey or a honey drizzle or maybe some goat cheese.
Ooh. Is dumping the drink on yourself legit? Not for me. I mean, I wouldn't do anything other than
No.
water. Water, if it's really hot out, yeah, I'll
Yeah.
do that on the long run.
That's why there are sponges along race courses sometimes.
Yes, or soaked towels.
Mhm.
But like I'm not dumping anything on me that's got sugar in it and getting sticky and just being uncomfortable.
Would not be good. I don't
Plus,
think it would be good.
any anything like that has the potential to lead to chafing at a bad time on a
It's
race.
not good. Oh gosh. No chafing.
Yeah, grilled peaches. Sign me up for that. So, guess what, Aim? It's time to go run. I know.
Oh,
I know. We're unfortunately, because of the weather that canceled my run today that I was going to share with it. Sorry. I was going to share with everybody
mash them with butter.
on the
Sugar
live
stuff.
stream earlier. That has been pushed to tomorrow.
Cheryl.
Oh, wait a minute. What is this? No honey. Brush
No
them with
honey.
butter. Pop them on the grill with grilled shrimp.
Okay.
That actually does sound really good.
All right. Yes, let's do it.
And yeah, Josh, yeah, that is absolutely what would happen here. Or wasps or bees. If you poured like a sugary drink on you while you're outside,
That's not good.
No,
Let's avoid that. No. We're not doing that.
But yeah, so we had the nigh apocalyptic weather this afternoon. Had to
I
cancel
love
the
your
race.
terminology for the weather.
Extract the dog from under the
Ding, ding,
bed.
ding, ding, ding.
All that. So tomorrow, if the weather holds, we're gonna I'll do the 10K
Mm-hmm.
day 2 run for the 10K program,
Mm-hmm.
and that'll be about 6 p.m. Eastern, weather permitting, and then long run this weekend, Saturday morning. So that's coming up. We do have the new episode up in the feed. If you have not listened to that yet, it's actually a little shorter this week, but I think that we hit all the main points, and it's all recorded live there on the in the restaurant. We did
Which
it,
is nice.
we did it in situ. Fancy word for you.
Oh my God.
So
It was delightful and delicious, that meal.
yeah, really nice options
Really.
for both plant-based and non-plant-based eating at Sebastian's Bistro
Mhm.
on the Disney property here in
And-
Orlando, Florida.
And thanks to our friends from Metal Chasers, too.
Yeah,
Patrons of the show.
I should have gotten that medal out.
Yeah.
I got to put that one up.
Yeah.
I have a trick that I'm
Maximum
doing,
effort,
which really just
people.
involves me and a stapler figuring out how to shorten up my the ribbons so that I can properly display the medals
Yeah.
at different heights.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to make sure that that's all ready to go.
We'll do it.
But
Get it done.
the new episode is up in the feed, so please give it a listen.
Yeah.
We'd love for you to do that. Subscribe in your favorite podcatcher, of course. That's our number one thing. Amy makes me do all the business talk because she's the fun one and I'm not.
No, not fun.
So, but we are really glad that you guys can come and hang out with us tonight because
I'm tired.
I hear you.
55 difficult.
55 difficult has you How's your dragon?
Yeah, I'm trying in support of this one.
And I very much appreciate it. And Josh, love and hugs to you as well. Everybody else, thank
Mhm.
you for coming and hanging out and tuning out the world for the better part of an hour.
We always talk about such fun stuff.
It goes in different directions. You just never know. We covered a lot of pop culture and movies and fun stuff tonight. Oh, Jojo, love you too. Thank you for coming and hanging out. It's just been wonderful tuning out the world for an hour. Now I've got to go pound pavement. Amy's probably going to do some yoga and get her chakras centered or her chi channeled, or next thing you know, I'm going to come back and it's going to be the Legend of the Ten Rings in the house. Who knows? So little Shang-Chi action.
No. I'm gonna work on the IT band.
Or that. There's that.
Yeah.
That's probably a more likely outcome. But
Yeah.
Rhonda Lee, thank you so much.
Happy
Cheryl,
birthday.
Happy birthday. And we will see you. Well, hopefully see everybody 6 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night for the 10K training run.
I hope so. Weather
And,
permitting.
We'll talk to you
Yay.
guys soon. Good night.
Bye. Love you.